Welcome to Patched. I'm your host Paul James, and I'm joined again by Jay Parnas, Damo Camilleri,
the co-host.
Co-host.
I will one day take that host position.
Usurper King, as you refer to yourself.
The Usurper King.
You'll see at the end of the year.
The Usurper King will conquer.
And we've been joined by Pippa, my dog, who will roam in from time to time. So we're into our Patched notes as our first entry for the month. And we're going to be talking about one game that we didn't get to discuss too much as a result of E3 last year, which is Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Well,
we didn't get to it all really.
This year.
This year. So, the new Zelda's been revealed.
It's kind of
to some really meaty demo footage.
Kind of a shitty subtitle though.
I can deal.
It's all right.
It's a breath of fresh air, if you will.
I won't.
So... There's been a heap of footage revealed for that one. There was 90-minute demo at E3.
Yeah.
2 45-minute playable demos.
I'm pretty sure
we've all seen the footage.
Yes. Yeah. They even said that 90-minute demo was not enough to cover that entire area.
No, and that area was also 1% of the.
Was it only 1%?
1% of the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew they did actually show some of the map, and it looked like it was a chunk. Looked bigger than 1%, but
No, that's just scary if that is 1% though. That's a hell of a lot of game.
That is a fuckload of game. If you couldn't beat, or at least, so it wasn't even beat, it was just you couldn't explore every corner of that area in 90 minutes.
It's alright, she's just bowling. Here you go.
Fair enough. So look, basically, that is a lot of game. If you can't explore...
Yeah, maybe take that off.
If you can't explore that entire area in 90 minutes, that is a lot of game.
Yeah, I mean, there was certainly a few things that they kind of recycled here and there. She's just going to go get another bottle. But there's a few things that have just been recycled. They kind of revisit the same things a few times, show you multiple different ways of approaching it. Here's how it's going to work if you know, cooking and all those sorts of things. There's a lot to it. So I mean, some of the big new features straight out the gate. You can cook food that then helps.
Thanks for that.
Nintendo,
thank you.
Restore.
I haven't actually. I didn't see any of the cooking. Because the stuff that I watched was live.
You don't get hearts anymore. There's no hearts when you're cutting down grass. You got to cook food.
Yes, that I was aware of.
Only rupees.
Yeah, they mentioned that. So I watched it live, but I watched from about. So it was the Nintendo Treehouse stream. I watched it from about. I think what time was the start? About 2.
Yeah, it was 2.
I watched it till about 2 till about 3:34. So a couple of hours. But,
Hey.
But basically,
I didn't watch the stream, but
this might be a wipe. I think we might.
No. So I didn't watch the stream. I didn't watch the stream, but
consummate professional.
I picked up the footage the next day, kind of seen all the stuff that Nintendo had put out there and available for everyone else. Just because it was a bit more bite-sized, and I wouldn't have to watch a 7-hour stream to get what I needed to see.
Yeah, it was good that they put that much out there, but so I didn't actually watch anything after the fact. I watched it live and then sort of rewatched that same stuff live. And yeah, it does look really nice. It does. There's a bit weird physics stuff though, like pushing some of the boulders down hills and stuff like that. It looked weird. The physics didn't look quite right.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't look as polished as Zelda stuff does in the
really
past. Purely because I guess that's because usually it's canned footage. Usually it's like, okay, when you do this thing, this boulder will do exactly as we've coded it to do.
Yeah.
Whereas that was just straight up physics. Hey, here's you throwing an object that has weight in our world. See what happens. You know what I mean? Like where shoves a boulder off a cliff and it sort of slides down while also sometimes kind of tumbling. It didn't have that full. Anyway, that was the only sort of awkward thing that I saw. The rest of it looks really nice.
Darren, what do you make of what you've seen? So obviously you're pro cooking from your reaction.
I'm pro everything to do with that game. The fact that you can go kill the boss from the word get go is amazing. The fact that the dungeons have been removed and replaced with these skill temples or whatever they're called. I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't dive into that much, but that's cool. Climbing, you can climb anything, and there's a stamina bar now, and he's not in a green tunic. I swear,
That's neither here nor there to me, but
eat my opinion, people. I don't exactly. the green tunic doesn't have to be the pinnacle of Link.
It's certainly iconic, but it's not something you can't shake.
Yeah, I mean
That's not necessary, I don't think.
I think I'm sort of in two minds about it, because he doesn't have to wear that exact specific Archer's gear, but I do actually think that Link should be built up.
You don't need your shoes, right?
Nope.
Link should be built up of those three colours: the green, the red, or the blue, because that's always been the case. And I think those three colours are very specific to Zelda. I mean, you have a look at it, you think in the first Zelda you got the rings that give you the different coloured armour, but then fast forward to Ocarina of Time and you've got the three different tunics. You've got the Zora tunic, the Kokiri tunic, the Goron tunic. So the circumstance is, I actually do think that those colours are important. The design of how you want to build them, I don't think is quite as important.
Well, so does it matter if he starts in a blue tunic?
No, not at all.
No,
he started in blue and a blue t-shirt in Wind Waker. Of course not.
And so, like, I don't know. And they mentioned something about the clothes, didn't they? That like they're actually going to have.
There's stats.
Yeah,
there is stats.
There's something with them this time. I can't remember. Look, I loved it. I thought the demo was great. The fact that you can. There's little moblin encampments now, and the iPad that he brings out. The fact that this is like kind of
the Sheikah Slate, I think they call
yeah,
which is just totally a Wii U gamepad.
That's fine.
Which makes you wonder how that's going to work with the NX and what the NX is going to be.
The thing is that the Wii U version also works with just the Pro Controller. So if it turns out Nintendo's going with the NX, that they're going down this more traditional path, then they'll just have a traditional control, and it doesn't matter, the game's already made to support that as well.
Yes, but what functionality is it going to have in game? Because I'm pretty sure they showed something of where in game is using it.
Yeah, and maybe your traditional controller, if that's the case.
It's like right stick or something, camera stick or something.
Right. Yeah, like they can easily go a bit more traditional.
I suppose.
We know what that's like because we've been doing it with our PlayStations and Xboxes for the last few generations anyway,
and it worked so well with those.
Oh no, but for years we've been able to, a map blown up on the screen is not. Sure, it's handy on a gamepad or a 3DS screen. Or
I mean, gyro stuff is probably not really.
Well, and maybe they'll
Flower.
Yeah, they might have to map that to. Flower and a few of those. There's a few games that do it well, but generally it's not done particularly well.
Zelda.
True. Unless you've got and Nintendo's hiring Media Molecule, I doubt that all those sorts of weird control schemes are going to work on everything.
Yeah,
because Media Molecule seem to be able to make anything work for a good game.
Yeah,
art style I'm happy with
their guns.
The art style is perfect Zelda. That's what they need. It's
probably the sweet spot between the realism
and Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess.
It's good job done there.
It's what it needed to be, but we've seen that art style for a few years now, but. Because they said when they first showed it that was in-engine, where they had that sort of laser crab walker thing.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing
the Guardians.
This
which is what they call those things.
Tech. Tech advancement, like this. What are they? Where they come from? What are they doing? Are they old school things, or are they new school things? I don't know. The story's going to be cool. I want to know how that pans out.
You're wondering where it fits in the timeline and all that sort of stuff.
No, I don't give a shit about timeline. Timeline's never meant anything to me.
That's because it didn't make any sense to them until they made it up.
Well, yeah, but
I probably think they're going to go down the Wind Waker path of, okay, there once was a Hyrule, now there's a new Hyrule that's it's reached a pinnacle and nature's reclaimed it, and now it's you're well past that again.
Yeah.
So in the same way that there
Link
was
does apparently wake 100 years or something after some big event. So
my phone, bro.
it's just one of those. I don't know. I'm not too fussed where it fits within the fact that it's 100 years after events of some sort of an event means they can pretty much do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Whatever timeline they want.
Hell, they might be even, if you did want to shoehorn it into the timeline, you could very easily shoehorn it straight after Skyward Sword, because there's a big huge blank area.
Yeah, right at the very beginning before the split.
Yeah. So who knows? I don't really care if they do touch on that or they don't. But that's like in terms of how they're going to establish that story. It's probably going to be a, hey, look, this land once had high tech, then some dark shit happened, and then there was nothing, and now stuff is starting to, it's becoming just nature again.
Yeah. Well, I think the best thing about what we've seen so far is that I still don't feel like I know anything about it. Like they showed so much, and
sure.
I know so much more about it in terms of general direction stuff, but I have no idea really what they're going about.
I think part of the problem
like
with
the
that,
climbing in there,
I think
what we're using it for, what's the real incentive to do it?
part of the problem with that though is we're not. But I think the issue is, and this is the issue I have, and you can tell me if you agree, is that it's not. We don't know very much, and it could be anything. I think it's we don't know very much. And we don't know how much of the old school Zelda formula is still there.
Yeah.
I think it's partly... So we're thinking, okay, so we know that they've gotten rid of the whole sort of dungeon format. But how many people are probably still thinking, well, are there still going to be items that I'm going to be getting? Like,
there will be. Yeah, I feel
but that's the thing, we don't know.
But then how that fits in...
Exactly. So that's
totally different. I mean, you've only got to think about what they did with the Link Between Worlds.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think Link Between Worlds is our best shot at where this is kind of going.
But Link Between Worlds was still very much a traditional Zelda game.
Yeah, but like the fact that you can just go anywhere and do whatever temple you wanted is very much what I reckon this is aiming at.
They did say that
there's
like
still
a
an
baby
order.
step.
Like this, like as much as people say with A Link Between Worlds, there's no order. There is. There was the first couple dungeons, and then there was the larger amount of dungeons. That's taken straight from A Link from the Past.
Yeah, but you had to do in A Link to the Past each dungeon in a set order, whereas this you could do any of those dungeons.
You could, yes, yeah. No, I know that, and yes, I agree with you, but. By the same token, there's still that same format of like in A Link to the Past. Before you get the Master Sword, you got to get the 3 like amulets or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got to get the 7 or 8 gems or whatever it is that contain the chicks that talk for 10 minutes. That say the exact same cryptic thing that doesn't really make any sense or is very interesting. But cool, it's a thing that happens. But that's the thing. Like, yes, you had to do those 1 through 7. Whereas in A Link Between Worlds, you could go 7, 3, whatever. But you still had that format of, okay, I have to do a couple of dungeons and then a bunch more dungeons and then there's the end of my game.
Yeah.
Whereas this hasn't really told us anything at all.
Well, they told us that we could just go and kill the boss straight away.
Exactly. So at that point, like, where do the dungeons...
Do you necessarily need those?
Exactly. And if you don't necessarily need them, do you necessarily need the items? Or is there some level of crafting? Do you have to craft yourself a hookshot? Is there even a hookshot? Like, I think that's the sort of where I'm at the moment anyway, is that because they've left so much out, or they've left so much to the imagination, and they're talking about the new stuff, I'm like, okay, there's a lot that I don't know, but that stuff that I don't know is how much of the old formula is still there, how much of the old formula is necessary. It's, instead of it me being like, all of the opportunities, it's like, okay, there is all of these opportunities, but how much of the Zelda isn't there still? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that probably works against it.
Yeah. Because then, look at Mario, man. Mario's always still got Mario elements, no matter how much they change it up. I'm sure they're going to do the exact same thing.
Mario hasn't done anything new for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Mario hasn't done anything new since Galaxy.
This is just going to be like the same thing. Like they've changed the formula, but it's still going to be a Legend of Zelda game. You're still going to feel Legend of Zelda. To me, this is just what everyone kind of wanted when A Link to the Past came out. Like, you have an open sandbox world, and now this time you can actually play it as an open sandbox instead of being like looking on your map going, oh, I have to go here, then here, then here, then here. This time it's kind of like, wow, I'm in this world, I have access to everything. And then like you're probably going to get to an area and it's going to be like, you're going to need to swim in here. And it's like, okay. And it's like...
It could also just be one of those things, and just to play devil's advocate to your point, like
sure.
They're saying you can go straight to the end without having done any of the dungeons, but it could be exactly that. You don't have to finish the dungeons, but you might still need to get the items from it.
Exactly.
Like I'm just
and that's my point.
Being
like,
a nuisance for the sake of
a lot of those. No, but that's the sort of point that I'm trying to make. A lot of the devil's advocate stuff is referring to stuff that Zelda's already done. So instead of us saying, oh, there's all these opportunities, it's like, there's all these opportunities and I wonder where they're going to shoehorn in the Zelda. Because if you straight up can go to the final boss, then there's no items, there's no any of those puzzles, which is fine. I have no issue with that. But then you have to ask yourself,
is this a Zelda game?
What is a Zelda game? And I think
discussed this in the
we
past.
have. But the question is,
Go back and watch it.
Is it the puzzles? Is it the items? Is it the story? Is it the freedom? Because I mean, in the original Zelda, it was the freedom. You can roll up to Dungeon 8 in the first, like burn the bush, and you get straight up to Dungeon 8. I don't think you can beat it because there's a requirement for the ladder. But other than that, if you're like as enough of a badass motherfucker, you can take out all those knights. But you probably die because they hit you for like 4 hearts.
The boss changes, and you can't actually get get Ganon. The dungeon actually changes too.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before, and I didn't end up looking that up because I was curious about that. But that's the thing, like, what is a Zelda? Like when you're looking at Zelda, what it is has changed so much over the years, but it's got sort of like blocks of like everything from A Link to the Past through till I guess Wind Waker was very much okay. It's not as much freeform, but everything sort of Wind Waker past that has been a little bit more freeform. And then you got A Link Between Worlds, which is like the pinnacle of that freeform. But then you look at the original Zeldas and Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, and they're all about exploration. Like Zelda 2 is like a straight up action RPG.
Yes.
So, I don't know, like when you're asking what is Zelda, which Zelda you're asking about, and which
Go back to one of our very first episodes. If you're asking that, go back and check it out.
And but that's the thing, like
And even then,
because
we
we
didn't
don't
really
because
have
we don't
an
know because we don't know anything. Obviously, look, we're just spitballing here, but like where are they going to be pulling from is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably unfair to it because it's like, well, they might do
30 years
everything.
experience.
They might do everything different. They might be like, cool, this is the Zelda of the future that we want. And then people are still asking, but where's the hook shot? You know what I mean?
Like he's always made games that, just listen to the fans. Like, I mean, his son being one of the biggest fans. He made Spirit Tracks because he was into trains. He made Skyward Sword because he was into planes. Like, the themes is always there from...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different directions this thing could go. We obviously know
It's going up.
very little.
That's the direction it's going.
Look, it looks amazing.
Fucking number one.
The fact that you can get your sword. Sorry to cut you off there. You can get your sword. You can throw it at an enemy, and then that is where your sword is. You can be like, cool. I guess I'll go and do a dungeon because I've lost my sword in the grass here somewhere.
Interchangeable
and come back later.
Yeah,
And it's just sitting there. So that's kind of
lodged
cool.
in that guy's head.
Yeah.
So as we wrap this one up, because again, there's a lot we could say about Zelda. There's a lot we don't know, and we've already had a lot to say about Zelda
Previously.
So as we wind this one down, something you mentioned before we started recording is that you'll pick up an NX for this. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
I don't think that. I think that was him that said that.
I wasn't picking up an NX for this. I was just picking up an NX because...
Isn't that what you said? Something to that effect?
No.
I was picking up a Wii U.
I would consider... No. What I said was...
reason for you not to buy a Wii U.
Correct, yes. I'm like, in hindsight, as much as it like bones me a little bit with the draft that we've got, I'm because the Wii U is just such a weak platform. There's a few gems on there as far as I'm concerned, but for the most part it's just weak and there's nothing to do with it. So I'm kind of like, okay, cool, well I can skip that generation, maybe I'll jump in on the NX and...
Yeah.
As I say,
if Zelda's as good as it looks, plus then there's these other things. Well,
correct.
Sweet,
absolutely. And like if Mario Maker comes to the NX and
I'll tell you how good it is
and Splatoon,
for the 12 months that it takes you to buy a machine.
pretty much. And if like Splatoon's on there and Mario Maker's on there, I don't even really need Bayonetta.
But are those ones that you did like from the Wii U plus whatever's new and then Zelda?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then you buy an NX.
Exactly. I don't even need to worry about Nintendo's barely going to be supporting the Wii U. So
they're Mario Color Splash and then that's it. I suppose Zelda technically, but then that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our chat about Zelda. So I guess that's everything now. E3 done. But let us know what you think of the Zelda footage. There's a lot of Zelda footage out there to digest, so there's a lot that could be discussed.
Yeah, go check it out.
Share a bunch of your ideas.
Crazy.
And until next week, when we give you patch updates, we'll see you later.
Yeah, email me at zeldastorms@gmail.com.
See ya.